Hello and welcome to Out of Pocket. My name is Ryan, aka Ron, and today we have another set shaping. Today we are looking at the Paldean Wonders new mini set from Pokemon Pocket, set B2A, I think. Am I wrong? We'll have to see in a second, but the trailer showed us almost nothing exciting except for like Arven, the supporter, and Meowscarada could be okay, but I don't think it's that good. Goldengo, I think's a meme if you saw my short, but it could be fun, a fun meme. And Pawmo. Pawmo to me is the most interesting thing here. I think they might drop some secret good stuff, but we'll see. I am recording this within 30 minutes of the set releasing. However, I am planning to put this out by the time you get it, probably, maybe 18 to 20 hours after the set releases, because I got a job and a family and I'm not trying to go to bed at 1 a.m. So there you have it, but I'm going to try to get it out as soon as I can. All right, enough yapping. Let's get to set reacting. I've literally looked for the last 15 minutes for a card list and I'm not finding it. Everyone's just opening packs. So the closest thing I can find here is on cerebi.net. So here we go. We're going to try from here. Guess we're just going to be doing it individually like this, and maybe more editing for me, but that's okay. All right, so we got first Sprigatito. We've already seen this. I don't know what. Usually the list is on PokeZone, but I'm not seeing it right now. So we got to click on everything, man. Here we go. All right, new Floragato. Okay, so this was interesting because I think people were wondering, is the new Floragato going to be really good? The answer is it's mid. It's 90 HP, 30 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost. That's reasonably on rate. Not too bad. Better than the other one. Meowscarada EX, we've already talked about this in the trailer. I think this is, unless I'm severely undervaluing Flower Trick, I'm still not sure yet if Flower Trick, if your opponent knows what is happening when you do the Flower Trick, if they know the spot you've been chosen. I heard you. You say what? I heard you. So yeah, anyway, I'm unsure if this effect is if the opponent knows what's going on or if they don't know what's going on. So we'll have to see, or if it gets through Oricorio or things like that. I gotta keep my voice down a little bit. Have a coworker here working. But anyway, I'm unsure what this effect does exactly, if it's... Yeah, we'll have to see. But so far, I think this card's going to be pretty mid. But maybe I'll be surprised. All right, new Tarantula. I don't know how to say that. 50, 20, 1 retreat, 2 cost, pretty normal. 1 cost. All right, Spidops. I don't know these Pokemon. So we have 100 HP, 40 attack, 2 retreat, 1 cost. Bind down says during your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't retreat. So this is a pretty typical effect. This is actually probably pretty above rate in terms of, well, more above rate than they usually do for this effect. But this effect is just pretty mid, to be honest. And yeah, this Pokemon isn't going to use it that well. The best ability for this so far is Kingdra, because it actually has HP and attack, or Ariados because it can trap from the bench. All right, moving on, we got a Nimble, 40 HP, 10 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, colorless. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. We've seen this before. Wait, does Nimble not have an evolution? Okay, so I looked it up. So this thing does have an evolution, but it's number 66 in this pack. It's a dark Pokemon, so we're not going to plan to get to this for a while, but it does have an evolution. All right, next we have Smoliv. We saw this in the trailer. 60 HP, 10 attack, 10 retreat, 10 cost. Heal 10 damage from this Pokemon, pretty basic. Dolliv, pretty typical, stage 2, not very good. Don't like the 2 costs, prefer the 1 cost. So 90 HP, 40 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost. All right, Arboliva, we have 130 HP, 70 attack, 2 retreat, 2 colorless, could be relevant. Let's look at the effect. The ability, it says extra heal. Once during your turn, you may heal 60 damage from one of your Pokemon EX that has an energy attached. If you do, discard a random energy from that Pokemon. So I think this thing is pretty decent. It could see some use case in certain decks. Mathematically, I don't think it's that good. It's not bad, but you would want to run this with a good stage EX, and it is colorless, so you can run it in any deck, but you would probably want to run it with a good basic EX so that you're able to heal that 60, and ideally a deck that has a fair amount of energy or doesn't need a lot of energy. So maybe this would pair well with Meowscarada, but that would be 2 stage 2s, so I'm not really sure what this is going to be good in, but it could see some play for sure. Interesting effect. Very interesting. All right, Bramblin, 50 HP, 20 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, nothing crazy, is colorless. Bramblegast, 100 HP, 60 times, 2 retreat, 2 cost, continuous tumble, says flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 60 damage for each heads, so just your classic coin flip card. Capsakid, 60 HP, 10 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, colorless again. Scovillian, 100 HP, 60 plus attack, 2 retreat, 2 cost, red hot headbutt, says if your opponent's active Pokemon is grass or metal, a grass or metal Pokemon, this attack does 40 more damage. So effects like this probably aren't going to see much play because it's very niche and very it's just very specific towards certain Pokemon, but you know, if you're fighting a grass or metal deck, then you're feeling good about this Pokemon. All right, Raylor, 50 HP, 20 times, 1 retreat, again, 1 colorless. Ball roll, says flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 20 damage for each head, so it's not good, but you could high roll it. Okay, so this also must have an evolution that's not grass because I don't see it after this on the list. All right, end of the grass, we got Wo-Chin. 120 HP, 90 attack, 3 retreat, 4 cost. Binding Greed, says during your opponent's next turn, attacks used by the defending Pokemon cost 2 more. I mean, the effect is fantastic, but to get this thing online, like, you can't even really use a Baby Ramper. You kind of could because it has 1 colorless, but I mean, the ask to get this online is just extremely high. Yeah, I mean, I think it's fairly on rate mathematically, maybe even a bit above rate, but to get it online is just, it's tough. So I don't see this seeing a whole lot of play. Fun effect though. All right, Fuecoco we saw in the trailer, I think put 1 random basics pretty solid. So if the evolution's good, this could see some play for sure. Crocolore, 100 HP, 50 attack, 3 retreat. 2 cost, so very expensive, means that the stage 2 is probably going to have high retreat cost as well, which is good for heavy helmet, but we'll have to see. All right, Skeledirge, let's look at this thing. 150 HP, 70 attack, 3 retreat, so it can use heavy helmet if it wants to. 2 cost, which is not bad. Let's look at the effect, the ability, see if it's good. All right, ability, Passionate Voice. Once during your turn, you may discard 1 fire energy from this Pokemon in order to use this ability, okay? During this turn, attacks used by your fire Pokemon do plus 50 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. Okay. Off the cuff, that seems pretty decent, especially given that the basic for this is helping you get cards out of your deck pretty quick. So this could be good. Let me math it. Yeah. I think that's really strong, actually. I definitely could see this seeing some play for sure. It's obviously very specific to fire. You know, you could run this with like Entei or something, but yeah, I think this thing could see play for sure. I think mathematically it's pretty above rate, and the ability to just manipulate damage is pretty darn good, especially from the bench. Yeah, I think this thing's really solid because it can work from the bench as well. So I think this thing's really strong. I think it'll see play for sure. And what deck, I don't know, but I think it will see play. I mean, it can put itself up to 120, which is pretty decent. Yeah, I think this thing's solid. I really like it. I think it's really strong. So we'll see how it does. They actually made one of the starters pretty decent. Good for them. All right, Charcadet, 60 HP, 10 attack, another colorless Pokemon. Colorless attack. This is interesting to me because I think I've said I stopped playing after Gen 5 or 6, and so I don't really know these Pokemon at all. I think they're from Gen 9, but anyway, we have a new EX, Armor Rouge, EX, 140 HP, stage 1, 120 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost. Armor Cannon, says discard a fire energy from this Pokemon, and it takes minus 30 from attacks. Okay, I'm gonna math it in my head so you don't have to watch me. I'll plan to edit. Yeah, I think this thing's good. Obviously, it's a little slow because it's 3 costs. It only does 120, which is a bit of a bummer. And it does discard, but with Flame Patch and all of the synergy with Fire, I don't think the discard's a big deal. I do think the 120 for 3 energy could be an issue. That might not be enough. So I think I'll say this is good. It's probably not going to be meta. I think what's it called that we just looked at? The Skeledirge. I think the Skeledirge could be meta. I legit think that Pokemon could be really good. It could make fire really come up. This thing I would expect to be, so I have it mathematically the same as Jolteon and Dragulge, so meaning I think it's very good, but it probably won't see a lot of meta play because it only does 120 and it's 3 cost. Yes, it's 2 colorless, but like if you have Magby, you're getting fire anyway or something, so. And the Pokemon you would want to run this with, like the Skeledirge or like Charizard with Charmeleon or something, are stage 2s anyway, so it could be a lot of Pokemon in the deck, so I don't expect this to be meta. but it's definitely pretty good. I could see some decks with this for sure. It's a solid EX Pokemon. All right, moving on, we got Chi-Yu, got some Asian vibes going on. So we got 80 HP, 40 plus, 1 retreat, 2 cost, Mega Fire of Envy. What a name. If any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 60 more damage. So I think this is exactly Marshadow from Mythical Island, the second set. I think it's exactly the same, or at least it's very, very close. If it's not, yep, it's exactly the same as Marshadow. I just looked it up. So Fire's got a Marshadow. How fun. Probably not meta, but I mean, it's not bad for sure. Could be a one of in some decks. All right, Quaxley, we saw this in the trailer. 60 HP, 10 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, splashing dodge. Says flip a coin. If heads during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. I think this is pretty decent also. It's like Meowth, but without the ability, so you just have a chance of, you know, stonewalling your opponent for a turn, which could be enough to get you online. Let's see if its evolution is good. Oh, so are they not doing another base Meowscarada? Sorry, this is a tangent, but I just noticed they're not doing another base Meowscarada, or at least it doesn't look like it, which is interesting. Anyway, back to Quaxwell. So second evolution, 80 HP, 40 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost, switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. I think that's the exact same templating as one of the Frogadiers as well. So decent, but probably not going to see play depending on the stage 2. All right, Quaquaval. We have another ability. I like that. So we have 150 HP, 90 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost, expensive. Torrent says, if this Pokemon's HP is 50 or less, attacks used by this Pokemon do plus 60 damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. If this Pokemon's HP is 50 or less, attacks used by this Pokemon do plus 60. So I mean, niche. I don't think as good as Skeledirge, or Meowscarada probably for that matter. But I mean, if you're doing 150, that's pretty darn good. And this thing is hard to math also because it's unusual. So basically, I would say it's 20 below rate for normal, but if you have 50 or less HP, then I would say you're adding plus 60, so then it's 40 above rate. So it's really just a question of how often are you going to be at 50 or less HP. I don't like random strategies like this, especially where you're kind of reliant on your opponent doing a specific amount of damage. I'm not a big fan, but it could see niche fringe play, but I'm not seeing it being like competitively that viable. But it's interesting for sure. You can pair some stuff with it, especially if they had a supporter like, was it How, that keeps Hariyama and whatever the other one is at 10 HP. If they give a supporter like that, it could be viable. Hey, check it out, new Wiglet, and it doesn't hit random, so it's an improvement. 60-20. New Wug Trio, 90 HP, 30 times, 1 retreat, 1 cost, flip 3 coins. This attack does 3 damage for each heads. I mean, you can do up to 90 on turn 3 for 1 energy, which is great. And then until you remember Hydreigon, and then then you're sad. But it has high roll potential. It's just not great, but it's fun. Could be fun. All right, Finizen, 60-20, normal templating here. Palafin, we got 130 HP, 50 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost, Jet Punch. Says this attack also does 50 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Huh, okay. I think that's actually pretty strong. Now, obviously you're asking a decent amount to get the 3 water cost on it, but because it's a stage 1 and because you're doing 50 to your bench, your opponent's bench, that's KOing Swablu, that's KOing obviously Chingling, but that's KOing a decent amount of basic Pokemon, so that's actually pretty dang good. Again, I don't think it's going to see like competitive play because it's probably a little too slow and a little too little damage, but in a Cyrus deck with something else, that's pretty significant that it does 50 damage to your bench, to the opponent's bench. So could keep an eye on this. All right, Setodile, wow, I said that wrong. Ketodile, I'm trying to say Totodile, but it's not Totodile. Setodile, 100 HP, 60 attack, 3 retreat, 3 cost, Icicle Missile. I can't speak. Icicle Missile. That's atrocious. I don't know why this is even in this thing. Does it have an evolution? Yes, it does. Okay, and it seems like it's even worse. All right, 150 HP, 80 attack, 4 retreat, 4 cost, Ice Punch, but 2 colorless. Flip a coin. If heads your opponent's active is now paralyzed. That's just not worth it. I mean, it's like mathematically on rate, but it's just not worth it because it's so slow. All right, Veluza, we have 100 HP, 4 cost, guys, come on. 90 attack, 2 retreat, 4 cost, but 3 colorless. If you have no cards in your deck, This attack can be used for 1 energy. Huh, okay, so there's a card in Flesh and Blood TCG and probably in other TCGs called Last Ditch Effort. And basically it gets a lot stronger if you have no cards in your deck. So that's what this is. So, and it is a basic, and to be fair, 100 HP for 90 attack, 1 cost to retreat is extremely strong. So if you're playing some kind of, mill deck, or you're just stalling people and this is at the bottom of your deck, it's very, very good. But what are the odds it's going to be relevant? I'm not really sure, but could be worth keeping an eye on. Expect some fun decks with it. This is the part of the video where I tell you, if you're new, that I'm looking for disruptive cards specifically, and so I haven't really seen any yet that are compelling, but I specifically like to look for disruption. Namely abilities. Alright, Dondozo, 130 HP, 120 attack, 4 retreat, 4 cost, Giga Impact. During your next turn, this Pokemon can attack. Pack Filler. I don't know why this exists. Even with Manaphy. Or Mantike, whatever it's called. Mantike. And Manaphy. Tatsugiri, they're reprinting some stuff, 70 HP, 20 plus attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, rally back. Says, if any of your Pokemon were knocked out by damage from an attack during your opponent's last turn, this attack does 60 more. So again, it's like the Psychic 1 cost Oricorio. I think it's the exact same as that templating as well, so they're bringing back some of these old effects, but for different energy colors. Probably not meta, but could be a one of in some decks. Alright, Frigibox. It's probably like Frigid Box. All right, normal templating, 60-20, weak to metal. Arctic Box, we have 90 HP, 50 attack, 2 retreat, 2 cost. I'm curious what the stage 2 name is now. Baxcalibur, we have 140 HP, 90 attack, 3 retreat, 3 cost. Its ability, Ice Maker, says once during your turn, you may take a water energy from your energy zone and attach it to the Pokemon in the active spot. That's pretty good off the bat. Energy generation is usually pretty good. Yeah, I would say this thing's strong. I don't know if it'll see play again, maybe like Suicune, but again, why would you play it when you can just play Greninja? But no, I think this thing's pretty good actually, especially with basics that have a high water energy cost. This is pretty strong mathematically, so I would expect it to see at least some fringe play, especially because if you happen to get 2 of them out, you can do 2 energy a turn. I guess it's like Gardevoir, right? It's basically Gardevoir, so they're just copying some old mechanics from old sets, but I wouldn't be surprised if this saw some play. All right, Chin-Pao EX, we have basic, I like it, 130 HP, 20 for Icicle is 20 attack for 1 cost. I like that a lot. 1 retreat, and then Diving Icicle is 3 cost. Discard all water energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 130 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Okay, so speaking of a good basic to pair with Baxcalibur, if you got 2 of these on and you do this thing and you discard and suddenly you can do it again, this could be pretty decent. Okay, so mathematically, I would actually say this thing is not that good. However, I think with the synergy of something like Baxcalibur or other things that can maybe get water energy onto this, I think it could potentially see some fringe play. I'm not seeing it like breaking anything, but the ability to do 130 to any of your opponent's Pokemon, it's curious they did 130 instead of 140 because 140 can be an important breakpoint, but I don't think this thing will be competitive necessarily, but especially if you pair it with Baxcalibur, which it kind of seems like you're supposed to pair it with Baxcalibur, I could see it being pretty decent and potentially some fringe play meta for sure. I think it's a decent option. All right, this is what we came here for, the new Palmo line. So we got Palmy, we saw this in the trailer, 60 HP, 1 cost attack, random spark, 1 retreat. This Pokemon, the attack for this Pokemon does 10 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. I like this more than just the 60-20 because being able to target anything is very strong, especially with Cyrus. All right, new Palmo. I was curious on this too. So they did the 1 cost attack, which I think is it's a lot stronger than the 2 cost attack one, and a very fun little picture there with Pikachu. All right, new Palmo, give me something good. We have 140 HP, 100 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost. Discard a lightning energy from this Pokemon. Okay, so in a vacuum, it's nothing special. In fact, I would say in a vacuum, the other one is definitely better. However, when you factor in the fact that you can do the new supporter that does plus 80, the fact that this can go up to 180 is pretty impressive. So I definitely would think this could see some fun fringe play like other lightning decks have seen in past seasons, like the new Galvantula or things like that. I could see it seeing some fringe play for sure. Maybe not taking over, but potentially seeing some play, especially with a good, lightning basic like Raikou or Choreo, of course, or Zeraora or things of that nature. All right, Tadbulb, 60 HP, 20 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, pretty normal. Belly Bowl EX, new EX, 160 HP, evolves from Tadbulb. We have 70 plus attack, 3 retreat, 2 cost, high voltage cannon. Says if you have 4 or more lightning energy in play total, this attack does 70 more damage. So that's not bad off the cuff. First impression, not too bad. Yeah, so if you have 4 more energy in play, I would say this thing is the highest math stage 1 EX in the game right now. If you have 4 more energy. If you have, not 4 more energy, it's pretty mid. In fact, it's not good. But as you would expect to balance this effect. But if you have 4 more, which is not that hard with like Zera or things of that nature, or I think there's a Tadbulb that generates its own energy. I'm pretty sure that's one of the other Tadbulb. In which case, getting 4 in total in play probably is not that hard to do. And then this thing's hitting for 140, which is super strong. So this could be a really good finisher. And it's probably not too hard to get in play quickly. Zera is the natural, first impression Pokemon that I would pair with this, but there's probably other plays as well, especially with, E-Switch and the Cord, the tool that I'm blanking on, E-Cord, has a lot of synergy, could be relevant in the meta for sure. This is probably one of the most, in fact, meta relevant cards I've seen so far in the set, other than like Skeledirge maybe, or maybe that water combo. All right, Wattrel, we got 60 HP, 20 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost. Pretty typical. Kilowattrel, kilowatt, get it? 90 HP, 40 cost, no retreat, 1 cost. Sorry, 40 attack, no retreat. Could be relevant. Wait, does Kilowatt not have an evolution? No, it has no evolution. Sorry, y'all can't see this, but it has no evolution. There's a visual. It has no evolution, so it's just not good. If it was a stage 1 and it had a stage 2, it is a stage 1. If it had a stage 2, it'd probably be pretty darn good, but it doesn't, so it's just like filler, pack filler. Not sure why they print Pokemon like that. All right, Miraidon, basic, 120 HP, 60 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost. Lightning Laser says this attack also does 30 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. So it's kind of like that water one, except a little different. I think 10 more HP and obviously 20 less damage to the bench. So I mean, you could run this in like Toxtricity or something, but it's just 3 costs is a big ask and it's a little slow getting going. So probably not going to see much play, but an interesting effect, an interesting templating for sure, along with the other one. All right, Fido, we saw this in the trailer, normal templating, but 2 retreat, Dash Bun, 100 HP, 50 plus attack, 2 retreat, 2 cost, play rough, says flip a coin if heads, this attack does 50 more damage, so nothing special happening here. Don't like coin flips. Ceruledge, we saw this in the trailer, evolves from Charcadet, which it doesn't look like we've seen yet, but I presume it's coming. I think that was one of the promo cards, but 110 HP, 70 plus attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost, fighting sword, says if your opponent's active Pokemon is an EX, it does 70 more damage, 140 total. So I don't expect this to see play because it's too slow, but the effect is good like Meowscarada. So maybe it'll see some fringe play. Art Rapska, 70 HP, evolves from something as well. We probably saw it earlier. 80 HP, 80 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost. Your opponent's active is confused, so just a basic, decent attack, but nothing, kind of a general pack card again. Little, 50 HP, 20 attack. Normal templating, but 10 less HP. Espathra, 90 HP, 30 plus attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost. Psychic, says this attack does 20 more damage for each energy attached to your opponent's active. So this is basically, like a mix between Tapu Lele and Espeon, and it's kind of like Espeon, but so it's okay. It's threatening against high energy decks, but other than that, not super relevant. Grievard, basic, 70 HP, 30 attack, 2 retreat, 1 cost. Soul Shot, says discard a card from your hand. If you can't, this attack does nothing. So this is just a worse, what's that card that's running with Altaria now, the goal something, give me goal or something. So I'm like, I don't know why you would want to do 1 for 30, but maybe I'm missing something here. This just seems really bad, unless it evolves into something. Okay, it does. So it's an okay basic in that regard. 130 HP for Houndstone, 50 plus attack, 3 retreat, 2 cost. Last Respects says this attack does 20 more damage for each psychic Pokemon in your discard pile. So, I mean, say an Altaria deck and you have like 4, that would be plus 80, you're doing 130. I think this thing's a little too cute. It's not actually cute looking at the picture, but you know, I think the effect is a little too cute. So yeah, interesting, fun idea, but probably not competitive. All right, new gimme goal to go with the Goldango, 60 HP, 20 times, 1 retreat, 1 cost, colorless, continuous coin toss. Says flip a coin until you get tails. This attack does 20 damage for each heads. We've seen this on a different effect earlier. Mankey, 60 HP, 10 times, 1 retreat, 1 cost. Flip 3 coins. This attack does 10 for each heads. Primeape, 80 HP, 30 plus, 1 retreat, 1 cost. Rage says this attack does more damage equal to the damage this Pokemon has on it. I see. So it's similar to the other one, I think, except just 1 cost instead. So again, I think just kind of pack filler. Can do a maximum of 100 unless it's caped. Then it can do up to 120 for 1, which would be good, but pretty niche scenario. Annihilate. Oh, it evolves from Primeape. Hilarious. I didn't know it had an evolution. 140 HP, 90 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost. This Pokemon does 30 to itself. Ooh. I mean, 90 for 1. Again, you have to compare to Hydreigon because everything is terrible in comparison, but 1 for 90 is pretty good. I mean, we have the thing with Altaria that's doing 1 for 70, whatever that thing's called, but even Gourgeist, there it is. But even that is you have to discard. So this thing can do 1 for 90 on turn 3, which again, it's not Hydreigon, but let's put Hydreigon in the stratosphere and compare everything else to normal Pokemon. So mathematically, I would say it's actually fairly on rate, a little above rate, but the fact that you can do 1 for 90 on turn 3 could separate it. I mean, if you run this with like Hitmonchan or something and just run like Rocky Helmets and whatever, it's like you're just slapping your opponent for damage at the beginning of the game and they might not know it. Now, you're probably not going to be meta, but like you're going to beat some people for sure just by high rolling them sometimes. Or imagine you have 2 Lucarios and this is doing 130. That would be insane, but I like the idea. It could see some fringe play, I think. Not competitive, but I mean, 1 for 90 on turn 3 is potentially really good. And I learned that Primeape has an evolution. All right, Paldean Tauros, we have 100 HP, 50 attack, 2 retreat, 2 cost. Just, again, pack filler. Nothing crazy going on here. Cool art. All right, Toad School. This looks like Tentacruel, but a ground version. 60 HP, 20 normal template. Oh, it is like Tentacruel, but Toad School. Hilarious. Okay, 120 HP, 70 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost. Stun Spore. Flip a coin if heads your opponent's active is now paralyzed. I wouldn't say it's pack filler, but it's just not relevant. It's just not good enough. It's too slow. If it said your opponent's active is paralyzed, could be relevant. But flip a coin, probably not. Didn't know they had a fighting version of Tentacruel. Very cool. All right, Klawf, we saw this in the trailer. I think this is bad. 100 HP, 70 attack, 3 retreat, 2 cost. Adrenaline Hammer says this Pokemon is now confused. I just really dislike things that hurt me like this, such as confusion. So, I mean, you can run this with other things to help it, but I don't think it's very good. Tinglu, more of the hyphenated names here. We got 120 HP basic, 130 attack, 3 retreat, 3 cost. Arrogant Impact says if this Pokemon's remaining HP is 60 or less, this attack does nothing. Okay. So again, like if we're getting a baby ramper for fighting, which I'm sure we're not, then this thing could be decent, but because we're probably not, then I'm like, you kind of have to run this with, what's it called? Oh my goodness. I just played against the computer version. I'm too tired. Oh, I gotta look it up. Passimian. Goodness, that took me way too long to get to and think of. All right, so Passimian. If you run this with Passimian and Passimian goes first, it could be decent, but at that point, just run a better Pokemon. So I don't see much of the purpose in this other than it's interesting and fun and could be a meme for some people. All right, end of the fightings. We got Coridon, 120 HP, 120 attack, 2 retreat, 4 cost, 2 colorless. Rampaging Fang says discard 2 fighting energy from this Pokemon. Again, without a fighting baby ramper, I just don't see the point. Although it does have 2 colorless. All right, let's get into Dark, because Dark probably needs some better stuff. So Paldean Wooper, just not good. 2 cost is just bad. The other one's better. New Paldean Claude Sire, we have 120 HP, 70 attack, 3 retreat, 3 cost, Muddy Hammer, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Just pack filler. It's just pack filler. I don't see it doing a whole lot, which is unfortunate because you would have liked it to do something. All right, Low Kicks, this does evolve from the Pokemon we saw way early. I think the grass Pokemon, right? 100 HP, 80 attack, 1 retreat, 1 cost, flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. Okay, so if you like Will and you like flipping coins, then this could be for you. Because if you do flip heads, extremely strong, but you're relying on the RNG there. But the 1 cost is good. All right, Mastiff. Play off of Mastiff, I believe is the dog. So 70, 30, 2 cost, 2 retreat, not good. Mabo Stiff, we have 120 HP, 110 attack, 3 retreat, 3 cost, wild tackle. This Pokemon also does 20 to itself. I would say this is pack filler as well. Really don't understand the point of pack filler, but I'm not a designer, so who knows? I guess they're trying to please some people. All right, new Shroodle. Colorless is the most noteworthy thing here, and 50 HP. Colorless attack. New Grafai, 90 HP, 30 plus, 1 retreat, 1 cost, and it is colorless also. Colorful, which is ironic because it's called colorful attack. If your Pokemon in play have 3 or more different types of energy attached, ho-oh, this attack does 60 more damage. Very interesting. So this is the type of Pokemon I definitely would see people messing with and seeing how they can get it to work, because if you can pull it off, it's pretty strong. But even then, you would have to get the energy attached first, in which case you don't really want a stage 1 90 HP Pokemon coming in and doing 90 like midway through the game. So I think it's fun and cute, but it seems like it should have been templated a little different to be viable. All right, new Bombardier. Well, I don't even know what Bombardier is. Why am I saying new? 90 HP, 70 attack, 1 retreat, 3 cost, colorless, fly, flip a coin. If tails, this attack does nothing. If heads, during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage from and effects of attacks done to this Pokemon. So I would say this is, again, probably not viable competitively, but it's colorless. And again, if you want to lean into the RNG or will, could be fun. For sure. Maybe they got something crazy coming that's just going to give everyone energy for free. All right, new Tinkatink. We saw this. It's bad. New Tinkatuff. 80 HP, 50 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost. I don't remember what the other one. I think the other one flips coins, so this one's probably better. I like the artwork too. All right, new Tinkaton. Let's see this thing. 150 HP, 140 attack, pretty good. 2 retreat, 3 cost, Gigaton Hammer. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Gigaton Hammer, so this is a finisher. And 140 is relevant. I don't think this is good enough, but 140 is a relevant breakpoint, or you know what I'm saying. HP point, I guess you could call it a break point, but the can't attack is, you're gonna have to run Lyra probably to make it worth it, but it's got 3 costs, so it could work with like a Probopass or something, but again, probably fringe. All right, new Varoom, 60-20, normal. New Revavroom, we have 110 HP, 50 attack, 2 retreat, 2 cost. Your opponent's active is now poisoned. I don't recall us having a metal Pokemon that poisoned, so that's interesting. But hey, good for Revavroom, you know? Earthworm, 100 HP, 10 attack, 3 retreat, 1 cost, iron supply. Take a metal energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your bench Pokemon. Honestly, okay. Hold on. Let me math it real quick. So 100, 110, minus 30 is 80, minus 30 is 50. So I would say it's slightly above rate. However, if you take into account, okay, first of all, let me back up. The fact that Steel now has a somewhat relevant energy ramper is relevant. Like, you could play this with Goldengo is the obvious one. You could play this with Tinkaton. I mean, you could play it with freaking Solgaleo. I don't know why you would do that, but you could. 100 HP is really stinking good also. Obviously, if you put this thing out, you're just gonna, it's not going anywhere because 3 retreat, and you wouldn't want it to anyway. And the 100 HP is good though. And it's only 1 energy. However, especially going second, I think this thing is pretty darn good. Going first, it's like, but going second, I think pretty solid actually. So very interesting, could see a little bit of play in certain, you know, fun metal decks. Maybe not competitive, but it's probably the closest thing metal has to a real ramper. I mean, Dialga, Probopass, but I mean, one cost is relevant for sure, and a basic. Goldango, we've seen this. I did a short on it. You can go watch it. I think it's a meme, but I think it's fun. All right, moving on. Lechonk, we have 60-20. What's new? This looks like a grumpy pig from Angry Birds. Oinkalone, we have, that's gonna be my new cologne name, Oinkalone. 110 HP, 100 attack, 2 retreat, 3 cost, leg stomp, flip a coin if tails during your next turn this Pokemon can't attack. I mean, it's just terrible. Like, again, pack filler. Tandemouse, new Tandemouse, 30 HP 30 times, 0 retreat, 1 cost, flip 2 coins. This attack does 30 for each heads. So Tandemouse is all about high rolling. We saw this mouse hold in the trailer, 60 HP, 60 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost, flip 3 coins for each heads, discard a random energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. So again, very high roll. Could be annoying, but such low HP. All right, Squawk ability, 70 HP, 30 plus attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 30 more damage. Nothing crazy going on here. New Cyclozar, 90 HP, 40 plus attack, 1 retreat, 3 cost, driving buddy. Says if you've played a supporter from your hand during this turn, this attack does 60 damage. So it's like Silvally, but worse. But it is basic. And there's a pretty good chance you have supporters. So that would be 190, 180, 90. It's not as good as Silvally, but it's got, you know, some fringe potential for some fun decks. All right, Flamigo, we have 90 HP, 50 attack, 1 retreat, 2 cost. Pretty basic. And now we're getting into the trainers. We have an item, electric generator, flip a coin. If heads, take a lightning energy from your energy zone and attach it to one of your benched lightning Pokemon. Okay. So if you like high roll and you like having a ton of lightning energy, then play electric generator. Very high roll card, but could be pretty rewarding if you get it for sure. I don't see it breaking anything, but people will probably try it, I'm sure. All right, Big Air Balloon, new tool. The stage 2 Pokemon this card is attached to has no retreat cost. That's not bad. Obviously, it depends what you're trying to do. Like, why do you want to retreat? You know, why do you need free retreat? But that's definitely a card I could see seeing play in some deck somewhere for some reason, for sure. All right, Team Star Grunt, discard a random energy from among the energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. Okay. That, again, maybe could see some fun fringe play or like meta play depending on what you're trying to attack. Like if you're really trying to go after, well, again, Hydreigon gets around this, but you know, Sweet Ninja, it's not as relevant as it used to be, but this could see fringe meta play in certain metas. Interesting card. Not like top, but not bad. New Iono, I kind of saw the art for this. Is this the same card? Each player shuffles the cards in their hand into their deck, then draws that many cards. Why are you reprinting Iono? Just the exact same card. Nemona, during this turn, attacks you. We saw this in the trailer. Attacks used by Palmo do plus 80 to your opponent's active EX. Pretty good in some very niche situations. Each player shuffles the cards in their hand. It's the same. Why would you make the same Iono? Anyway, Arven, we saw this in the trailer. Flip a coin if heads, put a random item from your deck into your hand. If tails, put a random Pokemon tool. This might be the most impactful trainer they put out. It seems like it's probably going to be. Maybe that lightning one, but I doubt it. I would expect to see this in some decks for sure. It's not too bad, especially if you're tool heavy. You know, if you got that heavy tool belt. All right, and they're reprinting Penny. Look at a random supporter card that's not Penny from your opponent's deck, shuffle it back into their deck, use the effect of that card as the effect of this card. Yeah, it's a reprint of Penny. Why are they reprinting Iono and Penny? I don't understand. Mesa Goza, we've seen this once during each player's turn. That player may flip a coin. If heads, that player puts a random Pokemon from their deck into their hand. So not a bad card for sure, but it depends if you want to give your opponent the chance or how badly you want this. And again, if you like RNG. All right, that's the set. Call me underwhelmed so far, though there were a few good ones for sure. Now we got some art. We got Fuecoco, Greavard, Gimmighoul, fun. Paldean Wooper drowning in a mud. Orthoworm, oh, that's Dune. That's just Dune in a Pokemon card. That's hilarious. I like that. Mousehold, we saw this in the trailer. I like the art. It's very, very vibrant, a lot going on, but it's not overwhelming. Okay, and then we get into our 2 stars. I'll just plan to go through these real quick. Emma Rouge, again, a solid card. I like the art there, very cool. Chin Pao, could see some fringe play, but yeah. Again, cool card, cool looking. Belly Bolt could see some play for sure. So the EXs in this set are pretty strong. No megas though. And then Gold Dango. I just don't think Gold Dango, that's nice art. Very dance vibes. Yeah, I think Gold Dango's a meme, but it's a fun one. I've said that like 100 times now. Team Star Grunt, cool art. Very just colorful, I guess. New Iono, because again, I don't know why we're reprinting Iono, but apparently there was a need to do that. So here we go. Nimona, that's good art. I like that. It's got a cool background. I feel like some of these are just kind of plain, but that's a cool background. Arvin, also pretty sweet. And again, a new penny, because why not? Let's look at some cool 2-star art. Miascarada, very fun. Emma Rouge, there's a lot going on here. A lot of fire happening. Chin Pao, that reminds me of the Ninetales art from I think the last set. Belly Bolt getting supercharged over here. Oh, this is like what's his name in Spider-Man 2? Jamie Foxx played him. Electrode or something like that. It's the vibe I'm getting. Electro, I think, right? I don't think I watched that movie. Gold Dango. Hey, Gold Dango may be a meme, but it gets cool art. So I like it. Very. Can't do my mouth on that side. All right, then we got Arvin is the 3-star, the oh my goodness, immersive, which is cool because I think it's one of the stronger cards from the set. So it's not shocking. Seems pretty sick from looking at that. All right, now we got shinies. We got Sprigatito, New Florgato, Old Miascarada, which makes sense. Balmy. Interesting that they're doing shinies from this set. Usually they do past shinies. I like the idea of doing the current set. So I think that's an improvement for them. Not that, you know, there's not shinies from previous sets that people might want, but I think this is an improvement. But feel free to let me know your thoughts. The new Palmo, I wouldn't, oh, they do have the promo of the old one, but I wouldn't mind the new one. Or the old one, I mean. Gimme Ghoul, that's nice. I wouldn't be clicking on all these if I actually had the full set list, but given that it doesn't seem to be out yet, here we go. Tinkatink, Tinkatuff. Apparently no, Tinkaton's in the X, so Goldango, sure. Was that the old one? I think that was the old one. Ooh, Entei, okay, we got cool 2 stars. Oh, give me that Suicune. Okay, so, well, I do have 2 immersives, so I don't even know if I would run this, to be honest, because, yeah, I've already got the immersive, but that's cool. That's a good chase card. And then Raikou, yep. That's nice. Tinkaton, sure. All right, and then we got 2 gold stars. We got Baxcalibur. I do think this card's going to be relevant. I might have to... I think I might be struggling with some deck ideas for this set, but Baxcalibur could be in the running for sure, especially if we pull a gold. All right, an Electric Generator. That's a really cool art. I don't expect this card to be like crazy, but really cool art. All right, so there's the set reaction. Again, call me underwhelmed. I think there are a few cards that could. I think the EXs are pretty good, except Goldango. I really think it's a meme. Miascarada I think is decent, but yeah, I think the 5 EXs on the whole are pretty solid actually and could see some meta play. But other than that, there's a couple fringe cards that could be really good with abilities like the Skeledirge or the Baxcalibur. There's a couple that could see some play, but overall, as a disruptive enjoyer, I'm very underwhelmed. I didn't see a good like ability or disruption that I really like, but I'll plan to look and see if we can maybe make a deck, because I got a segment I gotta keep, you know, so gotta look for something. But overall, pretty underwhelmed. However, maybe it will surprise me. So with that being said, thanks for coming. What do you think of this set? Am I off? Are there some cool stuff you're looking forward to? Feel free to let me know in the comments below. All right, have a good afternoon, a good morning, or a good evening, and I'll plan to see you tomorrow for some pack opening, pack popping.